Go back further.
Okay.
Where's the?
Board,
Yes, sir.
y'all ready?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order
Have it.
for January 7th at
Right
6
at the
p.m.
Aries.
We'll convene for the pledge of allegiance.
Oh, there it is. I got it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, additions to the agenda. I have two things for non-pub. I have to add under agenda approval, public input, and down by consent agenda, public input. Because the public input got forgot on the agenda because we haven't done it so long. Your New England solar garden contracts are postponed. We will not have those tonight. That's it. Anybody else?
So moved.
Second?
Bob?
Yes.
Ruben?
Yes.
Rob? Paul?
Yes.
Nine, yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask something? Town Administrator, can we just do a regular motion and just vote on it and plain where the public's available to attend now? Do we have to do a poll of the board anymore?
No, you do not have to, now that you're open to in-person.
Well,
Okay, announcements. Thank the town crew and Kelly and Scott and stuff, job well done on the cemeteries. Nice job. Submission for public comments, we have none. So we will start the public hearing. Can I start it now?
Or
I'll wait till
you
6:05.
have to wait until 6:05. Did you want to do public input?
Yep, oh, I skipped right over it. We'll do public input. Look at that. Added it to the agenda and skipped right over it. Yes, sir.
Charlie may know me.
Well, I don't know, you've been gone quite a
Well, I have
while.
to talk on the speaker, that's even better.
You've been gone for quite a while, so we don't know.
Yeah. Maybe not seen. Definitely you guys are heard. See, there's several positions in here that, the new town, public works director is gonna talk. I know about some of these items already. The other thing I gotta say is, we hired a public works director for a reason. Not to be questioned, because he has a professional ability to be able to do the job and do it very well. I'm just trying to get it through that the recommendation from the board, to hire this individual was to be able to take his professionalism and utilize it. I hope that's done in all the recommendations that were made throughout here. That's about all I have to say for the moment, but I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? We have a 1 minute wait before I can start public hearing. A 1 minute wait.
And Alan Funk from Blue Planet is attending remotely.
Back up there. That one's already moved.
So the one on the wall is.
Okay. We are gonna start the public hearing for Suncook Valley Solar LLC pilot agreement. So Mr. Funk is on the phone.
Yep.
Okay.
In case you have questions or you want him to explain anything and,
Hey, it was pretty well, we've gone through it enough.
Yeah,
I think we had gone
I
through it
think
quite
this is
well.
fine.
Do we have any public input on?
Good evening. My name's Warren Hack. I am for this idea of the Alton community being involved in these solar projects. I think it's a good idea for the town. It's no pollution. It helps with our energy needs in the future, so I hope you people will support it. It's a win-win, I think, for the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Dave Huntley, of course, I have an interest in it, as you guys all know. I particularly, if anybody's been up on my land and walked it, the land is absolute junk. And we should be very happy that somebody is coming to us and extending an offer of money every year for the next 25 years. Like I said, you can walk from boulder to boulder. And if you guys have seen the rock piles I have in my yard, which I think everybody has, the land, you'd be making less than $200 a year on taxes. So I think it's a no-brainer, and it says in every one of the state public handbooks or planning departments and stuff like that, solar will be encouraged. And I really think it should be encouraged on land that's useless, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got some nice rock gardens.
They're coming good. Every year I make another one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? The board has no questions.
No, I don't know. Do we still have Zoom going? Is that still a thing? Anybody out
Yeah,
there?
well, we have Alan Funk, if we have any questions.
But is there anybody else in Zoom that had questions?
Anybody else in public? Josh? Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, this time I will close the public hearing. We are going to go, we have to go again to sign the pilot?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to sign the pilot.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All five in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is new business. We have no announcements. New business, 19 Depot Street property.
Realtor.
Oh, okay. We would like to, board mind if he steps up, he's the realtor for 19.
Nope,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Liz, for inviting me. They made up some packets with some additional information.
You?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Yes. We are here for, we would like to sell the town a piece of property.
That would be nice. Thank you. Yeah,
How sharp's your pencil?
No, I've been in Elton for 40 years, and I had this property listed a few years ago, and then
A lot less.
pardon?
For a lot less.
And then market has changed and things change, and they decided to put it back on, and just having some interest from out of the area developers caused me to want to come by, and I talked to Liz, and I stopped in to see Jessica, just to see if the town had any interest, because there is not that much available in this close
Right.
proximity, all of the access points. So I just thought it'd be a good idea to present it and maybe answer any questions or concerns or ideas. I would like to say that the owners are amenable to any type of configuration folks want to think about, including them keeping the house and dividing off, because you may not want the house. So he's open to any and all possibilities and suggestions.
So, 10.5 acres.
Yes, sir. 10.4.
Because there's still an issue, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes.
There's still an issue as far as gaining accessibility from 28.
Correct. That's my understanding.
From 28.
That's something that would have to be addressed by whoever.
All right.
It's almost over $100,000 an acre.
Yeah. And that's what's unfortunate.
Right, well, and the buildings would be no use to us, but I mean,
No,
it's
no.
over $100,000 an acre. I'll sell land like that all day.
Being the access where it is makes it difficult. If it was accessibility from 28 side, would be a different ballgame.
Remember, this has been on the ballot twice,
Yeah.
that property. Both times.
It's a beautiful piece of property, it's just, that's a lot of money.
It is.
Yes.
It's beautiful and it's.
Hang on.
So I just wanted to speak up about the driveway cut by DOT on 28.
Mhm.
And the owner, Richard Fiore Senior, has a letter from DOT, it's a couple years old, that should a driveway cut be desired, it would be available to be purchased. And at that time, DOT would calculate how much it would be worth. Is that your understanding as
Yes.
well? Okay.
Again, my understanding is not understanding your whole process or what
Mhm.
with the state, but it's something I was led to believe that there was a possibility. Yes.
I have seen.
At an expensive cost, I'm sure.
I don't know, but I can't speak to the, I've seen the letter from DOT, and the previous board had voted to send a letter of recommendation to DOT supporting the potential of a driveway cut in the future should the need arise.
What's the board's wishes? Would that put it on the warrant article? So it wouldn't be even done until next year, after March, after the vote.
Would have to, in my opinion, come up with a good use
Yeah.
for the property,
Yeah.
or to make an offer.
One of your best uses in the future, we've talked about it, fire department, highway department is going to need new facilities. It's whether or not you want to keep them within the center of town. The fire department don't have to, the highway department does not have to, but it would be best behoove us to keep the highway department in the center of town.
Mhm.
It's a lot of money, I think, for that area. And this cut was already to be had, it was affordable to make the cut would already happen 2 years ago.
Right.
That's right.
It's my understanding the cut didn't happen because it was gonna cost so much to put an extra turn lane in and bring the road up to standard to meet the DOT's recommendations. And that came from the owner himself. So if the cut was gonna be that inexpensive, it would already happen.
Right.
But, I think 1.2 is a little high. Town would end up having to get a bond to pay for that instead of hitting the taxpayers with a big hit.
Right.
But it's something to think about, but the cost is demolishing the house, demolishing the barn, because you'd have to, because you'd be putting in possibly two different buildings now.
Right.
There's a lot to think about, the cost that would go into it besides just purchasing.
It would have to be purchased for the right price in order to make that investment.
Well, and everything's so inflated right now, everything is,
Now's not the time.
now's not the time to be buying land, if you don't need it right now.
No, but it would be, we want to put it on the Max ballot as a warrant article, and let people decide. Is he willing to hold it that?
Yeah, well, that's
Well,
the
that's
thing.
the thing, that's the
And
thing.
again, holding it depends on what you folks decide, you know, do you want the whole thing, or do you want to take
Oh, I would
two
think
out,
we'd take the whole thing if we're putting it out to people.
or, you know, or do you want to take off the 2 acres and let him have the house?
Building, yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about what you're doing with the house and the barn, and
Right.
take off 2 acres, reduce that. There's certainly some significant value in today's market for those. And I just look at it, having been here for many years and getting calls from investors that they sit there and have to wonder, what are they gonna do to the town?
Mhm.
And I have a personal interest living here and don't plan on
See it
moving.
like that.
Mhm.
So that's why I said, look, you know, if there's anything that can be worked out, he also said that if it's going to take a period of time, but we have some assurance, he would even, be willing to do some form of owner financing, or carrying over for a period, or until the bond, whatever.
Mhm.
His whole point is to have the town, I guess his heart and my heart were the same, to have the town keep it, he would be very creative.
Okay.
So that's all we want
That helps.
to make it known versus having somebody else.
Getting access from 28 is the important thing also.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a little
The town years ago, when the town, Prospect Mountain High School was looking at it, Prospect was would have no problem getting it, which would, especially if the town was to use it for emergency, use primarily. The town was going to, there was a letter that was sent to the town on that purpose, when the town was looking at it before. So, I believe the state would work with the town very easily on that versus a private developer. Yeah. But, be a great place to market basket. Or the highway department.
Highway department, fire department would be good. It would be nice to know what the state would charge, you know, to put in the driveway cut. What is it, you're talking 200,000, you're talking 500,000?
I could try to find out. I could call, Assistant Commissioner Cass tomorrow.
I don't
Do you-
think much for a municipality,
I don't either.
you know, like a emergency vehicles or anything like that, it's not gonna be.
It's not gonna be as much.
If any,
I mean, if the board is, you know, interested in going, I can certainly make a call and try to find out.
That'd be good to
I
know.
think it would be good to know.
I think I mean, it's worth putting it out to people.
I mean, we could put it out in a warrant article, but it says it's gonna take time.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
At this point, if the town, if the board is even interested in discussing this, I think when it comes to real estate transaction, trying to negotiate, it should be going into non-public session with the town attorney and the town administrator. And then when the deals, if the deal can be reached, then at that point, that the details will be released to the public.
Okay.
We do have statutes underneath the RSA for that. I think it's a good idea, it's a good prospect, but I think the town administrator should investigate it further with this, with the town attorney.
I do, because it's a great piece of property for, like you said, a fire station. It's a nice piece of property right in the middle of town like that.
It's a nice access to both sides of town.
Yeah.
For a municipality complex such as a highway department or a fire station or station.
That the board's wishes to allow.
Yeah.
Jim?
Yes,
Liz, too.
yeah, I mean,
Town
same
administrator
time,
and town
project
attorney.
road, yeah. Yep.
Sit down with the realtor and Fury and try to hash something out.
I think that would be good, in my opinion.
Like to look at that Route 28 access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what that's what I'd ask for. If she can look into that. Yeah.
Is that the general consensus of the board?
Want to poll the board?
Bob?
Yeah, for now, yeah. Yes.
Bob?
Yeah, I guess for the sense of, seeing what the options are, yeah.
Yeah, let's look into it.
Yes, 5 yeses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Water fund transfer.
So that's something that, added onto the agenda because the board has previously, discussed, once a year transferring the surplus funds from the water account into the capital reserve funds. By state law, you can do that as the water commissioners in essence. So,
He sat with the water superintendent and stuff to figure all this out.
yes, and you'll see on the second page, I had asked her about any projects coming forward so that Laura and I could come up with a reasonable amount for the 5 capital reserve funds. Of course, the ultimate decision is yours. You can do whatever you want with each capital reserve fund and each dollar amount. But based on her list of projects on the second page,
Oh, yeah. To me, projects change daily.
yep,
Yes. You board mind if I bring Courtney up?
Well,
Courtney?
So I'm not super prepared because I just got the breakdown this afternoon. The only thing we do need to keep in mind, and I refreshed Laura's memory, is that the School and Church Street project is going on right now. We're receiving quite a bit of bills for the pipe itself, and the project itself is going to be mostly funded from that capital reserve. Well, the revenue account before it goes into capital reserve accounts. So those figures that you're getting in the memo are going to be a lot different. I mean, we're looking at 180-something thousand for the School and Church Street project. 55 is for the pipe and the valves alone. So that's going to take a huge chunk out of, when you start moving that into accounts.
Till we get it replaced.
Exactly. So, had this been, earlier on or after this project's completed, I think it'll give you a more realistic number as to what will be left in that revenue account, because we do not have that money in the operating budget without oversighting the bottom line. I think it was pretty forward about that in the beginning. We did not budget for that this year, like we did previously.
But yeah, I think we gotta put this off until we do Church Street stuff and all them bills come in. Because once it's in these capital reserves, we can't take it out unless it's designated for it.
Well, that's the problem. If you break it down, if you've got 300,000 and only 100 going to water main replacement, you're gonna be short on the project itself.
Yeah, because I think we gotta put this off until.
I have no problem with it being broken down. We've been talking about it and passing it back and forth for a long time, but the point right now is kind of.
My understanding, though, that the Board of Selectmen / Water Commissioners had the right to expend out of the water main expense fund. Is that correct?
yes, that is.
At least if it went in, at least if the bulk of the money went into that water main fund now, there'd be a better track of where those funds are being used and where they're being put versus just going into the money market account and pulling money out as we need it. I would think for accounting principles, that would make Laura's job a lot easier, if I'm not mistaken, for accounting purposes, would it or not?
Yeah,
You want to put it right in the water main account.
Well, at least they put 200,000 where she's saying it's at least, right now it's at 180,000 and you only have 55 in there right now.
The only question I have is, I keep hearing about, that account we're not supposed to be taking from, and no one can take that money without coming to you guys first.
Right.
So I don't, as far as accounting goes, you're only going into that to pay whatever we owe the town after billing, correct? Or something that I come in front of the board, such as the F-350, to purchase. So I mean, I don't have any problem with it going.
Basically, because then there'd be no sense to have a water main account if we're not putting money into a water main account to pay for it and show the taxpayers where those funds are being used. Then she could come out and say, in the water main capital reserve fund, we spent $180,000 out of it to replace School Street and Church Street.
Right.
Versus going, we just took $180,000 out of the account fund. This way here it'd be broken down, showing where those expenditures are coming.
Everything that Church Street and School Street costs will come out of this account here.
Well, there's already some, we've gotten at least 20,000 that's come through already. Take the operating budget. So that's gotta now be.
Right.
Be put in there.
Out, because I'll be over.
At least that's my feeling. I don't know how the rest of the board is.
Just the operating budget, do you know?
It was, well, I'm at 50, I'm expended 52%, I believe. This is an old one. Yeah, that's March's.
You were just at budget,
Yeah.
so you were good.
Um,
47, I think, isn't it?
I can tell you.
You were 40.
At the end of May, you had 66% left.
Yeah, the last one we got was 49, I believe. So we're just, we're a little off track for the beginning of June. We're really where we should be at the end of June, at the beginning of the month. And that's with the first 1,300 feet of pipe that has, we haven't paid for the,
Has that came out of this account yet?
the 15,000, the first section of pipe delivery has been.
Paid for already, so it's already
Out
out.
of the operating budget.
What's your operating budget set at?
I think it's 494, I believe.
94.
475, sorry. 475, 42.
42. Because this is telling me that in the last 3 years, you're averaging 300 to 450, which doesn't leave much to move around.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Laura? Yeah, what are you looking at, Virgil?
Expenditures for the water department have been between 300,000 and 450 over the last 3 years, and the revenues have been between 447 and 470.
Right. So it's
It only leaves
different.
$20,000 going into the account.
We didn't carry anything over to go into that account this year, though. I think we were 3,000 over budget.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I mean, though. If you're averaging 470 and you want to split up 300,000 of it, the math ain't adding up here.
But we've only sent out one water bill for this year so far. It just went out, and the first one went out April, correct?
We do January and April.
In January and April. So you still got half a year's revenues coming in. You have your summer water lines coming in. This is money that's sitting there. You still had half the year coming in.
Summer line bills have gone out. We should be collecting these.
So once all this money's gone, what happens to the revolving fund for the,
When the new revenues come in for each quarterly billing, we'll go back into that money market account.
Back up.
Back into the money market.
Then hopefully at the end of the year, when all bills are paid and said and done, if there's some extra surplus funds in there, we distribute them back into those other revenue funds.
Right now, we're at, we've spent 57, no, we have a remaining 57.72%, which is 274,000.
Should we hold off then?
Yeah, but we can't take, you can't take 300,000 out if she needs 374 to cover her budget.
You would have to cover the one, that's really the only issue. The project that's currently going on needs to be funded by something. If
Right.
it goes into water line replacement,
Well, we can cover that through the water main, CRF. But I want to make sure there's enough in there to cover your budget. What's the board's wishes? See what I'm saying, though, Paul?
Yes, I do.
You don't understand.
I get it.
All right.
So right now they have more than enough to cover their budget in the revolving account. And they still have revenues coming in. This is an average over the 3 years.
Yeah.
They have anywhere between,
Currently, there's 437. You want to take 300,000 out, and she's got 274.
Well, let her.
because there's still revenue coming in every few days that'll
Right.
cover her expenditures as she's spending. I'm putting in the revenue to even it out.
So again, there's no chance of having an overlap.
Right. Because you would still have $137,000 left in there in case she didn't give me any money for a month, but I don't see that happening.
So with your recommendation of how to break this down,
All right, well, I think Ruben's got the right idea. Put the 200,000, if School Street's 185,000, put 200,000 in that water main expense. All bills for Church Street, School Street go through it.
Currently,
So that project's covered.
right now, the line replacement CRS has 29,682.43.
So we've already pulled money out of it?
No,
All right, because she's saying right now, the current fund balance of the water main CRF is 55,611.
well, hers would be more accurate than mine. That's just the last one I received.
Okay.
That's not-
And the only reason I say 200, that would give 255,000 along with your budget of, I think you had 55,000,
No, it went to 30 this year.
all right, so 30. That would give you 280,000 for your main, leaving your budget one alone, leaving it 255 to pay for your project in case you have any emergency main problems. Because I think you're getting ready to tie into the main this week out front here, right?
We're just.
Work on the valve.
Yeah, that's all, parts are all bought and paid for.
And then you know,
Two for that job. In case something happens, it's unexpected down there, you've got a little cushion in there that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we only know what's in the ground from what we've dug up, so.
Right.
We don't know.
There's still surprises along the way.
Unexpected change orders or something.
Yeah.
Come through.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll hit lead
Surprises.
the only other thing I look at through those budgets is maybe putting more into a building expense account. Because if you're gonna get another truck, or your trucks and your equipment now sit outside all winter long, and all you have is that little garage. If you could expand out to where your chain link fence went to with a metal building, you could at least get your trucks in at night and still have plenty of storage area.
If you're correct, though, we would have to deal with the, park trustees for anything like that. wouldn't we?
No, water department has.
Yeah,
I don't know, I believe.
No, there is some kind of an easement or something along the fence there.
Hence the reason for the fence request, right?
Right. So there would be another level of permissions that would need to be obtained.
It's not helping the excavator, the different equipment,
Oh,
fire hydrants,
absolutely.
because the garage is only so big and it's really too small for
The
what.
excavator will fit inside, and it does, our heart's in the right place, and it goes in there a lot, but it comes out more than it goes in.
Yeah.
It's because it needs.
Plus the garage is pretty small.
Not
Yeah,
much
we need
room.
to work, but as far as storage, then we lose that where we put it, yes, But in the memo that she included, it definitely, take into account the projects that are on there upcoming as well, because there are more needs than wants. That's why they're listed in there.
Chairman, I make a motion, $200,000 from the money market account into the water main CRF account and leave the rest as is for now.
Not transferring more on any
Not
of it.
transfer any more except for the 200,000
From the water fund,
for the money market account,
that's actually an incorrect title.
water fund, water
Revenue.
enterprise fund, I believe it was called.
Water enterprise.
I'll second that. So I feel safer leaving a cushion in that account make sure that everything's covered, then we can always come back later and take more out towards the end of the year.
And leaving the other ones alone, or leaving them,
Yes.
the other ones at their current amount?
Just transfer the
Just transfer that
200,000
once.
right
For the
now.
water main. That gives her a cushion for this job over here. Then towards the end of the year, we can come back in and move money there. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5 yeses.
Here you go.
Next is, yes.
So when she spends from that, now that it's a capital reserve, does she have to come to you every time we pay those?
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit of a, I don't know how to handle that one.
That's what I was getting at.
Good
Well,
question.
the main thing is you'll have it in your manifest every week and we'll just, there should be an idea of what the project's gonna cost.
It can also go onto the consent agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, that we could, because as long as it's used for the water mains, I mean, it's.
Thank you.
Okay, next. The Highway Department decommissioning the 2006 Dodge 2500 request for auction. Good. The truck has approximately 148,926 miles, weak transmission, and repairs to the body need to be done. The recommendation is to authorize the Highway Department to place the vehicle on this bid online auction for a bid sale with a $500 minimum.
Munici bid.
What is it, Manistee?
Munici bid.
Municipal bid.
You've had good luck with that company so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't like the minimum on the 500. I think it should be a hell of a lot more for what they're getting for you.
1,500 should be minimum.
Should be more than that. I mean, you
And
can't
that's
buy it
fine.
for 145,000 on it.
Minimum at least 1,500.
Under right now, $7,000. Good afternoon, Scott. I didn't know she's sitting. Nice job with the grounds and maintenance and stuff.
It's either that or, very good.
We're in partnership.
Yeah, did a nice job. All right. This truck's pretty well used up.
Pretty well used up, mechanic recommended it needs to go to some other owner, not the town's owner, and he feels it's appropriate to, he and I did talk about the minimum. Clearly, you'll probably get more. The idea is that we don't want to let it go for anything less, of course. And I don't personally think that you need to hang on to it.
Well, no, not if it's done its time.
Right.
I trust our mechanic that if it's pretty well used up. Now, is it cheaper to get the transmission fixed, body fixed, and move it over to another department, or it's done?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the mechanics right now are working pretty full-time taking care of the fleet we have now, and just to continue to add, more and more vehicles to have to repair, and, we're just going to be consuming their time. Doing that.
Chairman,
Yes.
is this truck in service now?
We're not operating it at this time, parked up behind the highway shed. Has been ever since I came on.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
And was that diesel or gas?
Yes.
I think I just would, I bring up the minimum bid amount. I would think you could at least put a minimum 1,000 to 1,500, I would think.
Make a motion.
I think 1,000's fine. We don't need a lawn ornament either.
I'd make a motion to put $1,000 minimum bid. on the vehicle.
And allow the vehicles to go to auction.
And allow the vehicle to go to municipal online.
I'll second it.
Good. Discussion. Come on. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Five ayes. All right, what are we gonna do next? Now, it's 2022 budget, merit cap, and COLA percentage.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Right after the page, you should have a document in your pile on the table at your seat, a little chart to show you what's been
Yes.
approved by the selectmen so far in the last 6 years,
Yes.
7 years. For the 2022 budget, so that the department heads can know how much to budget for.
My head. How do I do it? That's it. Yeah. There we go.
And I'd also like to remind the board that in regards to the COLA, that whatever you approve today is what amends the minimum maximum chart for all the positions for next year.
Okay, we should do away with the minimum maximum.
I know you say that every year.
I think we should do away with it. COLA we set by, Concord, right?
It's actually the Boston area. It's for northern New England. There's a region.
We swapped over to the one, because they have one that comes out, I think it's Concord.
I'm not familiar with that.
What's the board's wishes for merit cap?
For merit,
Merit, yeah.
well, I'll be honest, Mr. Chairman, I'm against our merit. I'm against it. I'm not against a merit raise, I'm against it. I believe it should be a merit bonus once a year. COLA, that goes on to the pay scale, and it'll be there the next year. But a merit raises, we give out these merit raises, and it's year after year after year, a percentage. I believe if we do it with a merit bonus, once or twice a year per employee, I think we can control the the rising
Well, it's gonna be.
hourly pay scales in the town.
I'd like to know what happened to the good old days, when if your employee was doing a good job, your department head came into the thing and sat there in front of us and said, hey, this guy's doing a good job, maybe we should look at something, instead of saying, okay, here's some money, just take it.
See, the merit raises were originally designed to, some employees get 1%. If you get a 3%, some will get 2%. But this year, we gave out the merit raises in stages, if I remember right.
What do you mean?
Some department heads didn't do them all at once. Some department heads, I thought, one department head I can think of did a very good job. Had quite a variation of, but the others, no, they were pretty much the straight 3%, which was the maximum. So I say, make it a merit bonus. I think
Once a year, twice a year?
Well, if you give a merit bonus of 3%, it's up to the department head to determine what the percent should be per employee. And we can do it, you can do it once a year, twice a year, whatever you want. I mean, if it's a 3%, and a person gets 3%, he gets 1.5 and then 1.5. Or just do it once. But I'm thinking the theory of a merit bonus instead of a merit raise. The raise is the COLA.
Yeah, I think we got competent department heads. Why couldn't a department head, like, let's say Scott comes in and says, well, geez, so-and-so is doing a great job driving truck this year, he's been doing great all year, he's really doing a good job.
Well, that's part of the evals.
I understand that, but it doesn't mean we have
Pretty
to
much
give
what they do.
everybody in the building a raise at their eval because it means you gotta perform to get your raise. I mean, that's how the world works, it don't just hand it to you.
Just
Well,
don't hand it to them.
it is-
Exactly, no.
Well, that's what
It's pretty much how it works.
That's what the 3%, the merit is.
But that's the way it works, is they evaluate them at the end of the year. And if somebody ain't doing their job right, then they get lower or none. I mean, that's up to your supervisor.
Pretty much what we do.
Doing the evals.
I remember mostly, the evaluation should be done in the middle of the year, so you have a budget for the following year.
yeah,
That's been our biggest problem all along, we've been waiting till the end of the year. The evaluations are done in the middle of the year, so we can budget for next year.
We know exactly what we need.
My feeling, we go back to what 2020 was, we gave no COLA, it was a maximum 3.5% an employee could get depending on their job performance for the year. I don't believe in COLA, myself personally, never have. I'm from the old-fashioned school, if you do a good job, you can get 100% of your merit for 3.5. You drive down the road and look at flamingos and drive into a stone wall, you shouldn't get any that year, okay? And that's happened in this town in the past. You're back in equipment, if it was, that should go on an employee's evaluation. Not having spotters or something like that. I mean, it should be all based on job performance. It should not be based on, because somebody down in Boston says, well, our cost of living's gone up 1.5 or 2%, plus we give another 3% per merit. I believe it should be all done based on job performance. Myself.
I agree.
So last year in 2020, we all agreed that we'd give up to 3.5%. Not everybody got 3.5% across the board.
No.
A lot of them did. Can we say we agree or disagree with it? We can't, because we're not with them every day.
Right.
We want to hold our department heads to the highest level standards, and hopefully that they did their evaluations, they followed protocol in putting things in employees' files that are supposed to be there when there happens to be a mishap or when they're not showing up on time for work or abusing sick time, whatever. Everyone's going to have a bad year. Not everyone's going to give 100% every day. We'd all like to say everybody will, but we know in a perfect world that does not happen. My feeling is we should stick where we were last year, up to a 3.5% no COLA. But that's my position.
I thought that in 2020, that went quite well.
If we have a disagreement, we call the department head and talk to them about it and say, it's not the employee's fault. The department heads are the ones that recommend it.
So what are you saying for a number?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion for the year 2021 that we repeat the last year's 3.5%.
Okay, 2022.
Repeat
We
2020.
repeat
1920,
2020.
1920?
They would have loved
Close,
a 3%
huh?
raise back then.
Yeah.
I was looking at the 2019.
What was it? It was the zero?
Zero COLA, up to a 3.5% merit. Basically, that's similar to what we did last year. We just called 1.6 a COLA and then up to 3%.
Right, exactly.
It's basically what we did last year too. Just, we're not calling
This,
it.
this eliminates COLA.
Well, last year, it come up to 4.6%. 3 and
Right,
1.6.
it could be up to
4.6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Myself, I'd like to see it at 3%.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
3.5%.
Discussion. Myself, I'd like to see it at 3%. That's what the board wishes.
I think it's good to keep it the way we did it in 2020. Up to 3.5.
When you're given 5 and 6%, last year was 4.6, and it's a lot. 5% raise is a lot,
It is.
to hand out.
Especially when you're facing possibly another $100,000 in benefits costs.
Right.
The town doesn't do something with it. So instead of getting up to a 4.6 last year, some got close to probably 6 and 7% because of the insurance costs that were borne on this town.
So you're recommending just 3%
Well,
flat?
I got a motion on the table, so I can't change it.
And I second that. You said discussion.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep.
No,
Carried
Three
3
to
to 2.
It'll be 3.5%.
my client, yeah, no quote.
Moving on. Old business, New England Solar Gardens contract is postponed. Fire Department, East Dalton Fire Station, well bid recommendations.
How you doing, Jim?
Well, how are you guys?
Good.
Nice to be here in person again.
Good to have you here in person.
So this is drilling, not pumping.
This will be drilled, yeah. Went out to 12 companies, plus it was in the paper on the website, only got one bid back.
Sad.
With that said, we gotta remember we're not quite recovered from the drought yet. So I know normally we would put this back out to bid, but I would ask you not to and just kind of let's move forward. We're not gonna recover from the drought. We didn't have enough snow. So it's gonna continue. This guy is actually ready to go. I talked to him on the phone. He's pretty excited about the project. It seems to fall in the average.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
He's ready to go. Why, he's got no work right now?
Nope, he has work to do, but he knows we need it. That was his thing. He's like, you guys, you can't
Guys
have
from the step
a
up.
municipal building
The what?
with no water.
That was my.
You can't have a fire station, you can't touch the building. So, that's his thing. So that, I put this down into a little bit of a subtotal and set cost. So the set cost for all the things that are just, this is how much it costs up to 300 feet, is $5,325. The per foot cost is 48, that falls in the average, in New Hampshire, the average is between 26 and 61, depending on what you end up drilling into. The only other thing is that $10 per foot for the mud injection, it's only if it needs to happen, they prefer not to do it. But it all depends on what we actually drill into. There's no way of knowing what the total cost is gonna be, because we don't know how deep the well's gonna be.
Right.
The water table's high, the dug well that's in there was less than 100 feet. There are a couple things we don't know. A permit was never pulled for the well in the first place, and a permit was pulled for the septic at some time, but there's a note on it saying it wasn't put in, but there's the septic. So, we have a little bit of work to do to find out where that is exactly.
So that's Tommy Roberts.
Yeah.
Probably knows about it, what it is.
Right. There you go.
Every guy did everything installed.
Chairman,
Yes.
Chief,
Yes.
you have a list of well companies here.
Yep, they went to
What was that one you sent?
12 different ones that I went through, yes.
I find it interesting that you only got one.
I know.
And this has been happening, and it's gotta be something that we're doing.
Well, I looked over,
For the bid.
I have a copy of the bid proposal here. I believe this is the one that went
That's the
out.
one you guys approved.
Yeah, after reviewing it again, I discovered that it's pretty hard for anybody to really bid. On your bid proposal, there's stuff that's on the bid that's not even on the proposal. Like location of well.
That's part of the site, right?
Yeah, cost per foot for drill. Well, I see that here, but there's nothing here
Sing.
about casing,
Casing is-
which I brought up earlier. And so somebody had to put this in. I'm wondering if these other well companies, chief, looked at the specifications and really didn't know how to bid on it.
Wouldn't they have asked?
Well, I don't know.
Of course they would.
It's just that,
They're gonna ask, is this what you want? If this is what you don't want, they make a suggestion.
They're also
To
busy.
ask information, and this wasn't something that they do, they do tracking only, so.
yeah.
Normally, when you bid something, there's something, the person doing the bid will ask if this is exactly what you think you need, if this is what I suggest you need, and so on and so forth.
We only got one bid. I just can't believe we only got one bid for a well. Maybe I'm wrong, but,
It happens quite a bit.
and I look at the bid specifications, and I did talk to one gentleman from the well company. And he said, I don't know how to bid on this without making up different categories. Like writing the specs over to do the bid. That's, and I think I brought that up.
You did, you brought that up.
At the last meeting, or 2 meetings ago. But we gotta get a well out there.
Yeah, it's dry, he needs a well.
I personally think we should try and write up some better specs.
Where it says the bid will include a price for the complete project,
Yeah, well,
that should help them figure out what they need for the complete project. I mean, they're the subject matter expert, not me, not you.
no, I understand that.
Well, that's kind of the thing with an RFP. He's not a well digger.
Oh.
So you put down on the RFP what you think is in, and then it goes out to bid.
Well, then they discuss it, exactly.
And that's why we bring it to you to.
If I have a problem, when I do a bid, I ask.
You know, I've done specifications. I did a lot of bidding in my past experience. And, if I wasn't an expertise in it, I went and got to be an expertise. I went to the vendors and I learned the situation. I used to bid equipment.
Okay.
And,
You had some time, must be.
wait a minute.
The other one, chief, is you could ask.
We-
about
I mean-
on that cemetery building.
Yeah.
I believe he knows where it is.
Yeah, we have a pretty good idea, just, it's a matter of being sure before.
Where you drill through.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a well expert, but once
Neither am
once
I.
you drill, it's my understanding that if you hit lead, you don't need casing after that, am I?
Right.
Anybody?
You're right.
No,
No, but you gotta have,
So, I mean, out there is quite a charge of rock out there.
Yeah, but I've seen legend, and you get right into a hollow.
but then it's got down here minimum half horsepower well pump. No.
I'm sure the
Oh,
company will
okay.
adjust that.
They will adjust that
Right, the company's gonna
as
say-
needed.
Now,
It's already been before the board to approve
yeah,
the bid specs, and you all approved the bid specs.
but I had questions afterwards.
But you should have had questions
Well-
tonight.
Well, he has a right to discuss it now.
Mhm.
Yep. And
Fine,
I
I
had questions afterwards.
I understand his concerns.
Yeah, no, me too.
I understand his concerns.
I just, you know, if we had 4 or 5 bids, it would be an issue with me.
In a perfect world, but right now, this is common with all trades. Right now, this is happening a lot.
I make a motion that we allow the fire chief and award this bid to Forest Pumps Local Company Incorporated for,
As recommended.
As recommended, yeah.
as recommended. Thank you, Liz.
I'll second.
More discussion?
I'd like to see it go out for a rebid.
I think that's half the town's problem, is why we don't get bidders, because we keep rebidding everything. I think that's half
The only other discussion I would,
writing bids.
Mr. Chairman, the only other discussion I would have at this point, I'd like to see it go out to bid too. I was surprised not to see capital in there. But two is, if we do not get water there, we will have to shut that fire station down, because you cannot have firemen or firewomen going in there and trying to use
Need
the
water.
restroom. If that was a public building, we'd have to, if it's a privately owned building, allowing the public going in, we'd have to shut it down.
Mhm.
At this point here, I would agree, I will approve the, ordering the bid.
I think it needs to get done.
Okay, I have a motion. Second, Paul seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Against.
One no, 4 ayes. Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Alton Bay Community Center repairs. We get you now, pal.
I'm not seeing it.
Do you have paperwork on this?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Oh, that's why we can't find it.
That's why it's not there.
Wouldn't mind, Mr. Holt taking that. and having
Good, don't make no copies for us, if you want us to approve.
Take care, Dick.
Thank you.
Good night, Dave.
So I'm here to present an update on the Alton Bay Community Center project and the maintenance plan with recommendations to the board. But I wasn't asked to prepare anything written, but I
Thank you.
did, just so you have a copy of what it's been said. So I just want to give you a status update and to tell you what has been done so far. The front siding and the trim around the windows were pressure washed, scraped, and painted. The front 4 support beams were painted 3/4 of the way up the post. The remaining siding was touched up with paint and missing shapes were replaced and painted. The railings were painted, screens were replaced, the missing spindles were replaced and painted, and the deck around the building and toward the Mount Washington dock was pressure washed.
Nice.
Thank you.
And, what needs to be done now, number one is to replace the roof, which we would, say is remove the existing roofing down to the roof decking, install ice and water shield at all eaves and roof penetrations, install new synthetic underlayment.
I'd like to see the ice and water shield up 6 feet
Okay,
off all
On all
edges and valleys. It makes a big difference.
Yes, it does.
and install new architectural roof shingles. Second, pressure wash, scrape, and paint all 4 sides of the building, trim, and the threshold. Pressure wash, scrape, and paint all the ceilings. Sand, glass, and paint-free light fixtures. Replace 3 support beams with new oak beams and paint. Scrape and paint the remaining 6 support beams and replace metal caps protecting the wood on the front side.
Where are these oak beams?
So they're in the front supporting the porch. There's 4 in the front, and then they go around the
Yes.
deck and
Why
all
aren't we going off the PT?
It would be up to whatever bid specifications you want to do it with, but it looks like 1 beam was replaced, and it looks like softwood. So the thought was it should be a hardwood oak,
Well, I'm just wondering because oak don't last long around water.
and then they have the board.
The PT. Yeah, the guarantee so many years on it.
If that's what you want to do, this is just
Yeah,
recommendation.
PT would be good. Pressure treated material.
Yeah, I think we're better off right there.
Okay, so we're at, replacing 2 top handrails and scrape and painting all handrails. Replacing some spindles and paint. Just for your information, we're replacing spindles on a daily basis due to vandalism.
Really?
Yes, we have people that are standing there kicking.
Checking them?
Yes,
Do we have a camera in there?
we're working on that.
Okay, Josh, you're working on that? Thank you.
Also,
We need more presence.
Well, I think we've got to seriously think about putting cameras around all our town buildings.
it's a private place for the most part back there.
Right.
Yeah. Also, yeah, we want to scrape and paint the semaphore, the train signal on the front of the building. Trim boards need to be inspected and evaluated for rot or replacement. We want to scrape and paint the gable side, including the decorative specialty windows and the intricate trim on one side. It looks like, on the side where the kitchen is, it looks like that might be Hancock glass.
Yeah.
Mark, you haven't put it in,
If possible.
but that was probably a possibility. Also, we want to scrape and paint the dormer on the front side, including the trim. And the deck needs to be pressure washed and water sealed, and the cracked steel pavement on the front side.
Now, you're not getting Thompson on that,
On
the decks.
the deck. This is what we think.
That town Thompson water seal is garbage.
Okay,
With CFW, you'll get 2, 3, 4 years out of CFW, where Thompson's you'll be doing every year.
And then lastly, the future plans, the long-term needs, would be to remove the existing handrails and the spindles on the back porch of the community center and replace that with new handrails and spindles. Remove the existing decking and the subframe on the south side. It's been exposed to the weather, it's the kitchen side, and replace with new pressure-treated decking and the frame. Replace the entire railing with spindles from the building toward the swim dock. Replace the entire decking and rail with spindles from the building toward the Mount Washington dock. And replace the existing pavement on the front side with new pavement or pavers. That's future plan.
Now, I have a question for the board, Joe. Your plastic decking, about almost the same price as PT right now. I think it'd be worth pricing the plastic in their decking and putting the plastic in, where we won't have to worry about it again.
Price it both ways.
PT, you know what I mean?
Price it both.
I know we're price with the plastic at PT right now. I'm going back to decks because it's shrinking so bad.
Well, there's pros and cons.
Right.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Because your joists have to be 12 inches, not 16 on center.
For what?
Plastic decking.
No, it can be 16. 16 is acceptable.
Yeah.
In the sun, have you seen what it does?
It's put on right, it don't do nothing.
Okay.
And then, the Alton Bay Community Center, just to talk about what funds are available, currently has a balance of $25,000. $10,000 was approved in 2020, and $15,000 was approved in 2021. So going forward, I recommend appropriating $25,000 per year until all the major portions of the repairs and the replacements are accomplished. It is worth noting that the Alton Bay Community Center is on the National Historic Registry. And with the historical significance of the building, grant monies may be available for some of those projects.
Have we put in for any grants or anything? Yeah.
I have not put in for grants. I'd like to know what the funding is, and typically it's a matching grant, so we want to have what our plan is first. And then just in summary, that the first thing we should do would be to develop bid specifications to be approved by the Board of Selectmen, and that's to replace the roof on the building for this year, for 2021. And that's within that $25,000.
Yes.
And then following that, within budget, I would recommend replacing those 3 support beams. They are starting to deteriorate.
Great.
And install the metal guards or caps on the front of those. And there's also 2 handrails on the north side of the building, the Mount Washington both sides, that need to be replaced.
Yes.
We have vandalism with those as well. And then third, as funds,
Broke or anything that?
they're not broke, they're
through.
structurally fine, but they're starting to deteriorate.
Deteriorate on the top.
Yeah, as long as somebody can't.
That was noted as well.
No, they're secure.
I noticed it.
And, third, as funds are available, I would recommend painting the entire building, all 4 sides, including the trim, the ceilings, the support beams, light fixtures, and the intricate work around the trim and the semi-floor.
Just
No, I agree.
Like Gabby Luce in there with a can of paint.
Right. So that, just to bring up the painting, I would recommend that would be bid out because, with the safety equipment that would be required.
Sure.
Yeah, she did paint the inside. And then, just to reiterate, appropriating the funds to do this project.
Now, do you think you've got enough money for roof and paint?
I am not sure. I know last time we bid out the roof, with an estimate, it was $10,000, that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
It's gonna be more than that now. It'll be more. But you're gonna be close. You're gonna be close to be able to do two. You should be close.
Because,
So, would you want to do the support beams though first before everything's painted, because that,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, oh, yeah, support beams,
You gotta start from the foundation up.
do the roof, support beams, and then scrape and paint.
Okay, that was the suggested plan, with funds permitting.
Yeah.
So I would bring
That's what I
those
noticed
specs-
a year ago.
Okay, I would bring those bid specs before you, work with the Public Works Director to coordinate the roof first, and then,
Are we-
and then those beams.
When we send these out, are we sending them, we should have a list in here, we send them to the people that live in this town,
Okay.
to allow them to bid on it. Because I think that people live here and pay taxes should have a right to bid to do the work.
If you have any recommendations for contractors, you can send them to me. I'll also work with the building inspector to get a list of our local people.
Okay.
So that's-
Yeah, I think if they live in town, they should have, be notified that, hey, we got something going out to bid, would you like to bid?
I think it's a good schedule, good plan.
And do you have
Yes.
anything to add?
No, I think you got it.
No, I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Main support's fixed, and
I will be bringing this forward then.
that the board's, wishes to allow her to put it out to bid. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Do you want me to
okay.
bring this back here first for you to look at them?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Sally. Got that all my business. Sure.
Yes.
Next is, let's see, Highway Department, 2021 F-550 diesel cab and chassis. By the way, it's nice to have you here instead of on picture.
Thank you.
No problem.
Probably
Like
on the right
seeing
for you.
everybody else, not talking through the computer.
Well, a lot easier to hear you.
Yes. Yeah, you don't get that delay effect going on and everything. The audio.
And you have an updated memo,
I was looking, I thought I'd seen one somewhere.
it says old business number 5 on the top corner. That's
We'll do number 4.
This is number 5.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. You have that one.
All right.
It's a new spec. It's not in the book. It's this one here, old bid number 5.
So if you flip over a couple of pages in the book, there is one dated June 1st. Is that the one, Scott?
That was the original one that was sent in for the packet, and then I gave a revised one to the town administrator,
June 7th.
this morning. Which was new information that I was forwarded on Friday. As you all know, there's quite a shortage, on vehicles right now, and I wanted to bring to the attention of the board new information that I had, come across, because the low bid, on this bid package was a delivery of 30 weeks. 30 weeks, we put it in the, probably early February, for that delivery, for that low bid. And based on that information, certainly I would like to see something sooner, so that we can look at the upfit, because the original plan that was given to the board was to have 2 of these vehicles in the fleet, that would be upfitted with, the dump bodies, plow wing, spreader body, and be ready to go for, hopefully for this winter season.
We can't buy them with the dump bodies on?
Well, the difficult part sometimes in buying them with the dump bodies on them is the spacing sometimes where they set for the cab. Right now, we've had one vendor that's looked at the one that we currently have, the 2021, and has indicated that they may not bid because they don't know if there's enough space so that they can run the control cables out through the back wall of the cab.
Right.
And be able to frame out the hydraulic tank and everything there to put the valve body on. I kind of question that because one vendor says they can do it, no problem at all, and one says they can't. But that's here or there, in that situation. My issue with this one and wanting to bring all the information to you is that I'm concerned that if in fact we go and do the upfit bid, that having that upfit vendor, I would like him to bid on the 2 packages as one to try to get the best deal that we can for both of them, versus the aspects of having one done now and say, well, sometime in February, we'll get you the other cab and chassis. That's the reason why I wanted to afford you this other information that I collected. Entirely up to the board. It does deviate slightly from the way that the purchasing policy is, although, from my understanding is in the past, by being a fleet, Dodge fleet, member, as the town is, that you have purchased vehicles in that method. In this situation, we have one that is currently, it's in Skowhegan, Maine, but it is currently sitting in the dealer's possession and can be delivered at any time.
Is that with the up package?
That is just a cab and chassis. That would
That's
be
just
ready-
a cab chassis.
That would be ready then, so then we would, I can't put the upfit bid package out until I know what we're gonna have for cab and chassis, whether it's gonna be a Dodge or a Ford, or Chevy, whatever it is. The only two that were bid was Dodge and Ford.
Ford.
So,
Allow Mr. Kevin to this over to Ford to Irwin Motors. They have one right on the lot, huh?
No,
That
you gotta
was,
read down.
that was 30 weeks.
that one's 30 weeks.
Was it Bosley?
The next,
Height Motors in Skowhegan, is that the one that has it on the lot?
Yeah, yeah, Height Motors in, Skowhegan, Maine. I did the story as to how I stumbled upon them, but that's kind of handy having a few connections and allowed me to make a few phone calls and find out that there was one there.
There we go. I make a motion that we allow Mr. Kidman to award the bid to Height Motors, Skowhegan, Maine. Let's see, that's
52,349, Rachel.
about 52,349 for cab and chassis. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Discussion.
Now, is this is ready to go? You don't have to wait for this one here.
they
So
have,
you can get it here and get it, because I know how they are about upfitting them through the other. You still might not get it till February.
Well, that's the other reason, as you know, is getting them in
Yeah.
sooner than later is to get them in, I have everything ready, I just need to put in the make and models, into the bid package.
Yep.
We get those up to town hall for review. It's a straight, bid package. When I gave you the original proposal for, deviating from what the original plan was to this modified plan here with having the two 5500s outfitted in this, process with having front plow, wing, central hydraulics, and a spreader with dump body. Granted, we have one truck that already has a dump body on it. There would be some retro that ends up happening, and then, it'd be ready to go. But we'd be able to get that out, and I would imagine, we can get everything out. I would imagine right after the 4th of July, we should be able to award that, have bids back in that time frame. I think that would give,
Hopefully
close
you
to
get it
3
back
to 4
before
weeks.
winter.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
This is for the highway department, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would go to the highway fleet.
Because you got 3 letters here that I'm looking
I
at
know.
now, and it's very
There's a
confusing.
lot of
It is.
confusion.
It is a little confusing.
This is for the highway department, that's the way it's
Only.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Yep.
Aye.
Five yeses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Linda Stripple, Kelly, Highway Department, Parks and Rec, truck replacement.
Oh,
Skipped over Parks and Recs. Sorry about that, Cal. Oh, that's Scott, too.
can I bring my other colleagues up to the table?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Somehow I skipped right over.
This is the confusion that Ruben was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I bring more players to the table for the confusion.
It's not confusing, that's all it is, sir. We were supposed to have been on number 4, that's why I wanted to make sure we were on the number 4.
That was on number
I didn't
4.
have the agenda.
I'm not confused about your next one, trust me.
Okay. Now I'm on the right pages. Okay, you wanna buy the water department's truck.
Yeah.
Let them get a new one.
But the other one's grounds and maintenance.
Move the other one over.
Correct.
So you'd be giving them the gas dump and,
Yeah, the theory behind that was, you know, and there's been a lot of collaboration going on here and discussions, and it's, you know, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm not like the guy behind me that had 27 years, for the town of Walton. So, you know, in talking with Kelly and, some of the discussions that were done previously with the Board of Selectmen relative to the replacement vehicle and such. She and I have chatted as well, and of course I talked with Courtney a little bit relative to her use. And the idea with this concept is so that we, in my opinion, if we look at fleet management and do the best management of the equipment and vehicles which the town has. Now, granted, understanding that the water department does have a board of commissioners, which ends up being you folks as the select board right now, and there's different funds and different pots of money that, things go into, is the idea is to, once again, the water department, I don't mean to speak for Courtney, she's here, she can speak, but, is that, you know, they tow that mini excavator, and they don't tow it with a gas rig because it doesn't have the power, never mind get past the gas station. I know we beat that horse to death last meeting. So, in the situation with, buildings and grounds utilizing that type of vehicle, in my opinion, is that they'll be hauling lighter loads.
It's a good fit.
And it would be a better fit, they would be hauling their trailer with their mowers and those types of things, you know, some bark mulch, some grass clippings, some trash. The big thing is, from what I understand, is that, you know, collection of the trash and the ability to be able to dump it, you know, when they get to the solid waste facility. You know, it saves a lot of time, less handling.
Yep.
Okay. Of that, and that's a big thing.
It's a safety issue too, handling it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a safety feature. The vehicle that, the water department has currently right now is about 10,000 miles.
It's actually
13,000 miles on it.
Just gonna say, it can't be that much on it.
We'll have to get it cheaper with that many miles.
Yeah, and I can attest that my guys take it to the dumps very frequently, so, I mean, they just back up to the hopper. They're in and they're out, you know, there's not.
So the truck knows the way.
Climbing in the back of the truck or anything like that, so,
Yeah, but we should get the township to buy it cheaper because it's got a lot of miles.
Yeah.
yeah, the miles are down on this one because we can't afford to fuel.
Well, it doesn't tow well, as we all know, and I really, I think by having, you know, the vehicle that actually, once again, this is another vehicle that's in stock. I didn't check before the meeting, but unless it got pulled over the last 3 or 4 days, that it was at, Tony Ford and is in stock, something that, you know, once again, can go over relatively quickly, and they'll have a vehicle they'll be able to tow with it. Be able to tow that excavator, I think, a little bit
easier.
safer and.
Even just the material.
Yeah.
You're talking waves to asphalt and gravel.
Makes sense.
it kind of does make sense.
It does make sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, we get more life out of it.
That was a good solution.
The breakdown on my end, money-wise, it's, I don't know if you actually received that because I put this together later on for Scott, but, we're looking at, my lease payment is over in 2022, payment $11,788.12.
Got paid off this year.
It's gonna be paid off 2022, so I have 2 more payments.
2 more.
Yeah. The way we swap funds, basically, it'll be clean payoff, with some extra. Our capital reserve has 26,000, which actually matches the payoff to a T, almost like it's meant to be. And then, we'd be looking at our lease payment would go up from 11.70 to 12.
For just the 2 years.
For just the 2 years, not for another,
Right.
so that's really not
We've
bad.
really maximized your fleet. We've been able to get Parks and Rec.
Right.
a 7-year, I think it's 7 years newer vehicle.
Yep.
I think
Great
it's
shape.
more flexible, more usable, and same thing.
Same thing on both.
You can get you to get something that can carry it and tow
What's that?
it. It gets you a regular truck to carry it and tow.
It's gonna take,
Oh, yeah.
my
going to
phone
a
is-
diesel.
Yeah, I think it takes the abuse a little better than the
Mhm.
gas truck.
I can attest just calling up to one of the pits, you know, a slight hill, driving it, and it's working hard.
So
So I know
Kelly,
it's a little confusing.
yeah, Kelly Blue Book was 40,000, you said?
Yeah, I put it at approximately 40,000. I saw one that was for sale the other day, and it was for 46,000.
What's hard to determine right now with
It's hard to-
is that everything's going up so
Keep in
fast.
mind, right,
It
they're
changes
gonna-
daily.
They're gonna get, you know, all the lights, it's all been equipped with lighting, all that, I mean, the radio.
The truck's upfitted already.
It's fully equipped, all we have to do is give
So-
it.
Yeah, just transfer it over from one department to the other.
Brand new tires.
Well, it's not, they're buying it.
Well, I know that. No, I know that, but it's still just, it's still you're buying it, but it's like
They
a
don't
transfer.
now
You don't
pay
have
the
to,
oxy mount
don't have to put new
user.
equipment in it.
Right.
In other words, what I'm saying.
It's, they have to buy it because water department's a separate.
I know that, that's why I'm making sure they're getting enough money for it.
Gotta check the price daily.
Well, 13,000, it should be about 60,000.
Yeah, if we were in the retail world right now,
Yeah.
that would not be a
Be 60,000.
realistic,
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't be a realistic number.
No.
I use that number based upon, you know, what you're trying to do for a transaction here,
Mhm.
trying to keep things
Even.
really level and across the board, I think, going that way. Now, you know, the board did ask me to go out and try to find a diesel
Mhm.
350 dump, and as of last Wednesday, there was one for $61,000. I just think it's too much of a vehicle
Mhm.
for what, you know, in other words, for the actual use,
Yeah.
for right now. And I think that this is a better overall use based upon the fleet.
Well, it seems like you guys came up with a viable plan to fix both sides of the fence here, so
Solution.
it seems like you guys did a good job coming up with it.
Well, it seems like a better fit.
Yeah.
For your
Yeah,
department.
I think so.
For that use.
I think you guys did a good job. That was good thinking.
Thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a better,
I think
Any
so.
more
you know, it's a
discussion?
good deal. I just questioned the 40,000, that's all.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering myself, because with the way the market's going, it's crazy. Almost take Kelly Blue Book and just throw it out the window.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, you have to use a trader magazines,
Mhm.
trader, and
Right.
trying to figure that whole thing out. And there's no doubt, I mean, I'm trying to be fair to the town, I'm trying to be fair to the water department.
Right.
There's no doubt, when I originally had done some figuring on this, and then I had to have Courtney check my math, I have to admit, and, I was actually showing that, you know, we were a little bit better light, by about $700, but after she double checked my math, it's just like, it didn't come out, but,
Nada would give you a better true value of that truck.
That's what I'm doing
So
right now.
I can.
Oh, Kelly Blue Book, yeah.
The purchase price on the vehicle in 2018 was 52,600. So we got, what?
But you need to go by Nada, though, you can't go by
Right.
Kelly Blue Book, because you'd have to go by what a dealer would allow for trading, what the high retail would be on it, versus going by Kelly. Not even, your banks don't even use Kelly anymore, they only use Nada. So that's what I would use to be fair to the taxpayers and the water users. Is that value there? Not Kelly.
On there?
I'm looking, but it's gonna be tough with, that's a 5,500.
Right.
5,500s don't fall under that. They don't fall under a NADA. They do, I mean, they will, but it's under a commercial NADA. It goes up to 3,500. But I mean, you're looking, and you got, did we buy that truck under municipal bid?
No, we leased that truck.
We lease it, so there's that too, so it's not.
Also, when you trade a vehicle in, they usually resell it for.
Right. Yeah, of course they do. They're not gonna just give you 40 grand for it and then sell it for 40 grand. That doesn't make any
Right.
sense. So,
No.
I mean, I see where you guys, but I think it's a fair deal
I think
for
it's a fair
everybody.
deal.
I think it's a fair deal for the
We can beat
Parks
this
and
up.
Rec, and I think it's a fair deal for the water department.
We can beat this up any which way, shape, or
Right.
form. I think it's a good fit, it's a good deal, it's across the board, makes sense.
Well, and tonight it could say 50, and tomorrow morning it could say 38. You don't know what it's gonna.
That's right, I mean,
Can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, grant, Public Works Director to make the purchase of the Water Department's 2018 Ford F-550 gas-powered 4x4 dump to sell to the Building and Grounds and Maintenance Department for the sum of $40,000. Do I have that right? Yep.
And then purchase.
And I'm sorry, and then purchase, where's that one? Sorry, gentlemen and ladies. Where's the other one to purchase?
It's actually on the back page,
On the back page, right? Yes, there it is.
only for 65.
For 66,483?
Yep, it's actually for 65,320.
325.
Okay.
Which is available, right?
Yes, to purchase the 2021 F-550 4x4 diesel with dump for $65,325. Thank you for helping.
Now, are you leasing again, or are you gonna buy one? You have the money to cover it?
Work it out to,
Lisa?
yeah.
Lease it.
That was taking, the 26,760 to the vehicle and equipment expense with CRF.
You're gonna take the 26,000 out of there.
Yeah, plus the two payments. We have a payment coming up in October, August, sorry, for the F-550. So we paid the first payment.
Right, you're paying the payment, 26,000, would you say was left on 26,000 something?
So.
Now you're right, with 26.
So you end up having to pay off on the current lease, which is at 26,760 and 67 cents. And which ends up happening to be so that'll leave you, after you pay that off out of the 40,000, that'll leave you with 13,239.33. And you add that to your CRF amount, which happens to be the same amount as your payoff, the 26,760.67, that'll leave you with,
2 years payment.
yeah, you'll end up financing, 25,325, for those 2 years, which will give you roughly a lease payment in and around 12,662.
But after 2 years, both vehicles are paid for.
Correct.
That's it.
You're not leasing them, you're purchasing.
Well, I think you still have to, I think you still have to lease the last 2 years.
So what if you just went to a 4-year lease, or 5-year lease?
Drop the
Then you gotta pay
Then you gotta buy the
$11,000 a year. Why use up all your money in your CRF in case one of your other trucks go down?
That's what I'm getting at, is,
I mean, two is, I think the town of Alton, if they're interested in it, Parks and Rec, or the town of Alton, and Board of Selectmen, they pay off your loan, your lease. Don't even touch your CRF. They can go to Grapponi and say, Water Department wants to buy that truck. We want to lease it for 5 years, what you're paying out now, $11,000 to $12,000 a year. For 5 years, there's your money right there. At least that's why, I think that keeps it short and simple. The town pays off Water Department's lease, and you just move on from that.
But now, wouldn't we be paying interest on, I mean, if the 2 years of interest is better than 5 years of interest, right?
It's the way you look at it, but you could cut that account short, depending on.
No, I got it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It keeps the
I
money
don't want
in
to pay
that
more
equipment
interest
fund,
than
it
anybody
doesn't
else.
drain that equipment fund.
Right.
If you drain that equipment fund, there's nothing
We'll
left.
change the motion.
Yep.
That's my only fear.
That's not a terrible idea, I guess.
That doesn't change the motion.
Yeah, I mean, you
That's
certainly
what I think.
do, you know, as,
No.
My motion stays the same.
Yeah, your motion stays the same, that's on the
That's
financial
just
end
the
of it.
financial end, so the motion will stands.
And then we gotta do a motion to allow Courtney to buy it.
But the Water Department shouldn't be making any payment come August except for a new truck.
Right.
The town of Alton should be making that payment.
Right. She should be making a payment on a new lease.
Right.
When it come August, right?
Come August, it'd be the new lease.
That way, you've got a safety net in that, until we start building these funds up, you've got a safety net, that equipment fund.
I think,
It's more discussion of financing.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I think you need to make two separate motions.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, that's what I just told.
One for the town of Alton to purchase the water department's truck. Then allowing the water department
Purchase.
to entertain,
I'll withdraw my motion then, and
What we're doing, Liz, is the town's gonna buy the truck. And then instead of Courtney draining the CRF for equipment, instead of her draining that account, we're gonna leave that money in that account so we have a cushion in there in case something happens. And we're gonna allow her to go lease the new one.
Yeah, I'm
For
just,
5 years instead of 2, instead of draining the account.
I think it's all the revised memos. I can't figure out which one goes to which. That's all right. I'll get it all later.
All right. I'll make a motion that the town of Alton buys the water department's 1 ton for the sum of $40,000.
Mhm.
Second.
That's one motion.
Okay, and then, okay.
We gotta get that off the table first.
Okay, so we can't do it the way we did it before.
Right.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Rock did.
All right. No discussion? How many ayes?
Aye.
goes.
One opposed? All right. All right, now I make a motion that we allow the water department to purchase a new, let's see, what,
2021
F-550.
F-550 4x4,
2021 F-550 4x4
65,325.
for $65,325. And that is a diesel.
It is.
I'll second.
Good, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 5 yes. Yeah. Now you get a new, fairly new truck. At least ain't as bad as the one.
Only a couple years old,
No, I think that was a very good.
Well, it ain't,
low miles.
it ain't as bad as the ones we usually send her. This one's,
I heard we got a Dodge up back.
Yeah, that could go over.
the rental boards were going on and that sure was heading. Poor Kelly gets anything like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Nice way to think out of the box to get it figured out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Selectmen's reports. Bob?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Old Home Week, we're going forward with it this year. Last year, we had to scrap it. We did have the car show last year, but I think that was basically it. Phil used to be the representative, selectman's rep. I took it this year. I have two questions. We have the boat show. They want to continue it this year. Of course, they take up the town docks there for, it's like 3 hours, I believe it's 9.
It's usually fine.
Eddie?
Like 8 to noon time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
The board doesn't have a problem with that. I know they have to request that through the board.
Yes.
But is the board on board with that this year?
Why don't we wait till the.
Yeah, we have to get the request first.
Yeah, but I mean, I just want to make sure it's, because the town docks is all that's left there.
Huh?
Because the state dock is going to be all wrapped up under
State dock
construction.
where?
What do you mean?
No, he's talking about
He's talking
You're
about
talking about the
Downing's
boat ramp?
Landing.
Hey,
Downing's Landing is kind of.
Down.
town landing, the town docks,
We're talking the finger docks for the boat show.
yeah, but, you know, people put their boats in and out at,
Yes, at Shibley's.
yeah, at Shibley's, and they usually use the town docks
Mhm.
somewhat, you know, because they gotta get the trailer down,
But
because
usually,
the state landing is not gonna be functioning.
the finger docks are
Right.
usually roped off till the start of that.
I know that. I just wanna make sure the board doesn't have a problem.
No, we're aware that the other one, the state ramp is gonna be closed.
And my other issue, not issue, but, we wanna have the car show again, same location as last year.
As long as everybody can get along, I got no problem with it.
I have a Okay.
I was waiting.
Now, I remember Roger Sample came in one year, last year.
Last year.
And talked to us.
These-
That's the
This
procedure.
spot over here, this spot over here is for the businesses.
I know.
No Roger parking over there, nobody blocking up that car.
Yeah, in front of the,
Park,
yeah,
what is it, Memorial Monument Square, in the hardware store. From here down, town hall down.
I'll wait till the request comes in, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Just like the antique boat show, antique boat
Yeah,
museum.
wait till they come in,
with their
yeah.
request,
Yeah.
Chairman, talking about.
Old Home Week aware that they've got a little more fireworks than what they are normally gonna have.
You mean, yeah, yeah,
They're aware of that.
yeah,
Good.
yeah. Yeah, because there's no Fourth
Town
of July.
fireworks going down to Old Home Week.
Yep. Okay.
And did you mention Old Home Week, parade? Did you mention that too, or no?
What?
The Old Home Week parade?
No,
You didn't mention, it, okay.
no.
Oh, parade?
Oh, yeah. Waiting on that, we'll finalize,
Better get 4 or 5, slips to come in here. Between the parade, the car show, dock,
4 or 5 what?
slips.
Application.
Oh,
Applications.
applications. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
We have parade applications coming in. We gotta get a permit for that?
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna issue.
We'll have to call the state on that one.
All right. What's next, Bob?
Oh,
That's it? Ruben?
yielded my time to him, sir.
I'm good.
Paul?
Yeah, just, we had the, last Thursday, we had the ZBA, monthly meeting. Went well. We had 3 variances that were approved and 2 special exceptions that were approved. Also, on June 2nd, we met with the master plan committee. We met with, partially remotely and present in here with, Tara Bamford. So she's getting, the ball rolling on the master plan. There is now going to be, take a look in here, setting up for a postcard that's gonna be going out to the townspeople. A postcard is gonna go out, that's gonna be mentioning, and a survey that's gonna be mentioning the master plan and putting out to local businesses and local people, what they think of the master plan and, to get participation as much as possible by businesses and people to, chime in on the master plan. So the town can be expecting soon by paper notification, by email notification on the planning board, and by a postcard and a survey that'll be coming up. Okay?
I have nothing because I was on the wrong week for my meetings. I came down, waited for me. Yeah, I was in the wrong week.
That happened at work too?
No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I apologize, I had one more thing.
Okay.
I'd like that, I believe we had an issue with the, fire truck equipment warrant article, fire truck or fire equipment warrant article a couple weeks ago.
Well, you made a motion for the research that has been done to be sent to Mr. Carr.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we voted to have the research done,
Yeah.
the right to know, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Was that,
Yeah.
that's all done?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all done, sent out?
And there's a copy in the reading file. It was done on Friday, sent to him on Friday with a copy in the reading file.
All right with that, Bob? Looks like something's wrong still.
Oh, it just, okay, I'll check the refund.
Can I make a
Yes.
clarification on something on the ZBA? I said 2 special exceptions. There was in fact 1. 3 variances and 1 special exception. For the record.
That's it for Selectmen's report, town administrator's reports.
The first item, you have at your seat a memo from the Public Works Director in regards to his application to a grant through DES. I don't know if you'd like him to come up to the
Or you like spending money?
table to speak briefly on it or not, but he did apply for it due to the They had just 2-day notice. It was gonna expire in a couple of days, so we applied for it, and it is for, an asset management program.
Matching funds?
No, they're direct funding to be forgiven
I'll get
after.
ready to sign your.
Scott can explain it.
Each spending.
Mr. Kingman.
Yeah, so they call these actually forgiveness funds.
Yeah.
The Hampton DES has funds that are allocated for this type of work, asset management right now. So this, application is documentation of all, stormwater, culverts, catch basins.
Oh.
So it'll actually.
Yes, it does. Can we add these funds into Church Street, School Street?
This would only be utilized for it's the inventory of that. So what the asset management does is it actually will give a complete inventory of all the current existing and, once again, that will become existing, once it's in place. So that will be documented that way. So we'll know what all those structures are, type, we'll know what condition they're in, all cross culvert, what those conditions are in. So that's what the funds actually do, is it sets up the program
We
itself.
set that up ourselves? We
Well,
take the inventory ourselves?
As far as doing the inventory, that's what part of the funding would actually, pick up, is to actually fund, interns or somebody along that line to actually go and actually.
Well, that's why I wondered if we can just do it ourselves.
Well, if
Keep that money.
we have enough manpower, we could certainly do that and maybe be able to offset or pay. So in other words, if we ended up bringing in seasonal help, for an example, and we were able to utilize them or bring in interns and pay them to actually go out in the field and do that, it allows them to take a tablet and be able to GPS coordinate each one of those. Courtney has started doing some of her asset management through the water department and using a MAPS type program in order to do that. This would just bring it to at least that level, if not a little bit greater, to be able to do that. So it all takes money in order to actually put the program together so you can have the inventory.
Well, it also makes it, for people down the road, you come in and you look at your screen and you go to the road and say, okay, we're here, there's a culvert, you hit the mark on the thing, it pulls up everything about that culvert. Ken probably wished he had that 20 years ago, so he didn't have to go crawling down through a culvert hole.
Yeah, and that's what we've had to do, as far as going out and checking these things out, whether it be for a road project coming up, or whether it's for, just checking that out. With the GIS system, once the tax map GIS system is put together, you can utilize this as a layer. So it could be a layer of your tax map, so if you're buying a piece of property or somebody else is buying a piece of property, they can see where that drainage is, and they can see actually which way it flows.
I have no problem with sending it out.
No, it's fine.
So it's a preliminary application, which is in there now.
Right.
Like I said, I only have about 2 days' notice. And I explained my memo, and I spoke to the town administrator on Friday, and she said, well, you need to have permission for that stuff. So I was looking for free money, so wanted to, make sure the board was aware of it.
You did what you had to do, given the
Given the time.
Yeah, in the short term, and once again, you can certainly, if in fact you have reservations, once you see things when it's laid out, you can certainly, you have discretion.
No, I think it's.
These are
well
good,
worth
No,
yeah, this is good to have.
thank you. It's,
Thank you for noticing.
Sounds good.
Yep.
The next item, that I wanted to bring up was this. You have it at your seat. This is from Scott Kinman. He wanted you to have this. It's a very good article.
Is for that.
Yeah. The,
Right in time, too.
yep. The next item I wanted to bring up was the 2022 budget. I sent instructions out to the department heads, which I usually do right around June 1st. And I instructed them to be mindful of needs, not wants, do the best that they can for the taxpayers and their budgetary needs. Is there anything else that you would like the department heads to know for budget creation instructions?
We decided on a percentage of what we wanna try to keep it to?
Mean increase? Or decrease?
Increase, or zero budgeting, what? We don't give up ground of 2%, 3%, 5%.
Well, sometimes you do, usually you don't, but sometimes you do, at least since I've been.
I'm in the mood to cut this year
I
anyway,
know.
so.
As long as they're aware, just to be mindful of
You're very good.
taxpayers.
We should be, we gave them all new pickups.
Only thing I'd like to see, Mr. Chairman, is we get all the budgets at once. We get the bottom line.
Oh, I think you need a bottom line so we can deduct from it. I'm not adding to a budget book to get a bottom line. I think we need that page like we used to have in them.
If I remember correctly, last year, we didn't get all the budgets at once.
That's,
No, we didn't.
That's almost impossible though.
it is.
I mean, we've done, all the years I've been doing this, you always get your budgets. You get a certain amount, then a certain amount, a certain amount.
Why's that?
Till they all get in.
Why's that?
For the full bottom line, HHW as an example, HHW, Household Hazardous Waste Budget, which is a cooperative agreement between Alton and Wolfboro, there's no way that they will have that prepared for September 1st, let's say.
Okay.
Till September 15th.
So we put that budget right in at last year's
Right.
dollar amount. But see, we didn't have that. Last year, we were fed the budget.
Piece by piece.
Well, it was 5 at a time or whatever, I think.
Well, it was scheduled, right, so as not to have, all 15 or 20 budgets that were needed.
You know, the budget book is what I'm talking about.
What he's saying is we take the budget books home, we can go through all the budgets and write down our stuff.
Mr. Chairman, if I could. Last year, we did not have all the departments' budgets at one time. They straggled in over a course of a month and a half. Some took 2 months to get in after the deadline that was imposed. Outside agencies and stuff, we did not request them, but we did ask department heads to have all their budgets in by a certain time. We did not get that. I think that's what Bob's more relying on, is he wants all the departments in at the same
time. That's what you're saying.
If I'm understanding.
I understand.
That's right.
Having them all, receiving them all at the same time.
All your department heads, yep.
Oh, that's.
Well, when are we gonna start our meeting? When do we start, 15th of September?
Roughly, give or
Labor
take.
Day, usually.
Last year was a little bit different too because of the state of emergency and stuff.
Right, I was gonna mention
Why don't we
that.
say all in by Labor Day weekend?
Whatever you can make work.
A few months.
Whatever I can make it work, I like that.
That's,
That's like saying, don't hurry on that, get it done when you can.
could be here or here.
You had it, give us a date,
What's your deadline? July 13th?
July 13th.
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Well, that's good. We'll go with that date.
Said you gave
That's,
a deadline.
Now, wait a minute. All right, Kate, so, so I always give a deadline to receive the budgets first, and I review them with the department heads, and my deadline is August 13th.
So by September 13th, we should have all the budgets, every budget.
I will do the best that I can.
Well, I mean, if you want all the departments to have it to you by August 13th, then we should be able to get it to you by September 13th.
Well, whatever departments we don't have on September 13th, we zero it out, that's it.
Okay.
No budget.
Nothing.
So,
Shut it down.
done. We'll give them the office budget out there. They can split it up.
All right, then the last item I have is I sent you out an email about a health insurance meeting on June 23rd at 1 o'clock here. I need 2 selectmen reps.
Well, have we sat with the department heads and everything, so we could get what they're looking for?
So that's what this is for.
But you're saying this is with the insurance?
Yes, so that the current policy, the current types of insurance that we have can be explained thoroughly. What are other options? All the department heads will be there, or their reps. So I'm looking for 2 selectmen reps on this one. And there will probably be additional meetings, so it would be helpful to have the same two reps.
I believe I have a 22nd and a 24th meeting.
It's at 1 o'clock here.
What was the date on it, Liz?
June 23rd at 1 o'clock upstairs here.
Yeah. The 24th?
Big systems. Main arbitration is Thursday.
This Thursday. Yes, which you two need to be here for 8:30 sharp on Tuesday.
You two.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's you two. No, it wasn't me.
Yeah, Thursday, so it's.
You.
Oh, we gotta be here.
Okay.
8:30 sharp in the Heike room.
Yeah, that's you guys.
That's
I've got something on the 22nd.
That's in a few days.
I'll have to look at work, and I might be able to
Thursday.
In a few days. Today's Monday.
what's going on tomorrow, but
Yeah, I've already got 2 meetings that week.
I talked to Stacy.
So,
I got it written down.
I should be all right for the 23rd. I'll confirm that with you tomorrow, but I should be.
okay, thank you. I need one more, please. Preferably. If you want to think about it and then send me an email or telephone call.
I think about it and look at my schedule a little bit more and to give you a definite answer on that.
Send you an email on the 30th.
On the 24th.
You gotta give them a deadline,
I will get back to you tomorrow on that.
8 AM on Wednesday.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll go to approval of minutes.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve May 17th, 2021 public session.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Non-public.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I believe that you may release these two.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the May 17th, 2021 non-public session, releasing 1 and 2.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the May 24th, 2021 public session.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Fourth non-public.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the non-public sessions minutes of May 24th, 2021, releasing number 1.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda.
I think that would be okay.
Huh?
Oh, no, I can't see her because I don't have my glasses on, so I can't tell if she's nodding. I have to put her smile.
Yes, yeah. Let's go.
Chairman, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented on June 7th, 2021. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Public input. Now, see all that you missed,
I get to talk to them.
say whatever you want.
Well, not really. Just going through some of this stuff is, you discussed merit, you discussed cost of living, you took cost of living out. I think you need to go back in and consider what you're gonna do with the base rates. These base rates only change by cost of living. So you hire someone at $15 an hour this year, next year you hire them at $15 an hour, the following year you hire them at 15, the next year you hire them at 15, because the base rate never changes. How do you even change the base rate? You need to come up with some type of evaluation, whether it's 1%, 0.5%, something to change your base rate. Now, that doesn't affect anybody that's working today. only the merit does. But as far as your base rates, you just can't freeze them. You're being wound out incredibly. You see the job applications that are just flying in?
But we have that maximum minimum.
That's only set by,
COLA.
It'll
I explained that during the meeting.
so you just come up with something different. So if you say 3.5%, then you say, how are you going to change your base rate? Use 1%. That's just a number. It's not given to the employees. It's just a number to change your base rate so you can kind of keep going along with what your base rates are. Otherwise, you freeze your base rates and you won't go anywhere. And I said this back in 2022. Same thing. You're not changing your base rate. You're not keeping up with the outside world. You got a guy that leaves at $16 an hour, goes right across town and goes to work for $19 an hour, doing the same exact job. That's pretty bad when you're leaving the town and going to the town and earning the same amount of money, or much more. So just some thought for that. I think you really need to think about it, how you can do what you can do with your base rates. It does not have to be a cost of living. It does not have to be given to all the employees, but you need to change your base rates. Now, you brought up the town property over here. In my experience, dealing with the state of New Hampshire, we did it up here on the end of Bay Hill to the property that we're going to put the through street in. If the town is behind an access, if you, the town, is behind an access, they look very highly favorable on them because it's you, the town. That's why I think someone came here looking for the town to give that approval and try to get that for someone else. So just as that thought goes, they're very highly favorable to that. We talked about the 7-track program. Insurances. I was all over this thing when I was here. I'm going to be all over it again. Insurances are great if they're done with several different companies. And there are several options. Farmington has one. Somersville's got one. There's different companies that are out there not dealing directly with one company. There's a lot of different options that can be available out there. Not dealing directly with one company, but there are other companies. To be able to look into those options, you know, when you see an employee that leaves here and goes and gets a very high deductible that pays $0 in their insurance. They want a little bit of deductible or medium deductible, they pay a percentage of that. They can pay up to $100 a week to reduce their deductible. So at $100 a week, that's $5,200 a year. If you got $9,000 deductible on your family plan, hey, I think I'd pay the $5,200 a year and get little or no deductible. There's so many different options out there. I think it would be something that you really need to look into on what we're doing. And I give kudos to the Public Works Director for his inspiring decisions on trucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public input? Seeing none, we will close public input. We will go into non-pub. Under, that's wrong one. Under RS 91-A:3, comma 2, comma,
Evening.
A, personnel.
Well, it depends. A is for wages.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
U and C is for reputation.
Can I go get some water?
Investigation.
Sure. Everybody okay with that? I'm gonna, run across the table.
Well, not about free.
Thank you.
Night.
Laura, you want to put that sign back on the door? Thank you. You can, when you go out the front door,
I'm gonna make sure it's locked.
Thank you.
who,
No, I think
yeah. Who seconded that?
No, nobody.
Oh, I thought,
Nobody.
I haven't even voted on it.
We haven't voted.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought it happened. Okay.
Second.
I'll second.
Virgil, yes.
Paul, yes.
Ruben, yes, and Bob, yes. Rock, you wanna go in non-public session?
Absolutely.
I make a motion that we hire,
Don't we have to wait for Brock?
Well, you have a quorum, you should.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we should call him to come back in.
oh, I thought.
He excused himself just for the,
His stuff is still.
no, he's been waiting to come back in.
Oh, I thought he left.
No, his stuff is all here. The poor guy probably wants to come back in.
He's having a drink.
There's gonna be stuff.
Did you go to Shibley's?
We're in open session.
No, you gotta leave that one open.
Oh,
Figured you went down, had a drink, came back.
Was right on the line.
I put your other paper, right?
He's grinning out over there.
Liz, you got another
Yeah, him. He's got a grin on, he's got a smirk on his face. Just that, I can't believe.
You got another non-pub paper? Make a motion to come out of non-pub under
Right there.
RSA 91,
Well, you don't have to,
oh,
you,
under ag.
are we in open
Affect
session?
adversely
All right.
the reputation of any person.
You read this
I move
and
to file the non-pub minutes because divulging the information likely would affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Brock, did you
Abstain.
All right, now I make a motion that we allow Stacy to go full-time as executive secretary, 40 hours a week.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in
Aye.
favor? Aye.